Hey, what's up, guys? Tom and 1992 of Retribution. I'm here with Bing Bong. Welcome back to part two of Gloom Talk podcast. Part two has the following topics: group finder issues. Uh, we have a housing contest announcement that's taking part in our Discord, and third-party application ideas that we think would benefit Wayfinder. So let's start the conversation. So, group finder issues. I'm gonna kick this one off. So, because they nerfed the XP that we spoke about in the last podcast, when pugging with people, let's say I'm doing like one of the high level win zones, all of a sudden I'm forced to do that with level 8 people, level 9 people. I think the lowest I've seen is a level 2 join my group in one of those, expecting to be carried to level up. And I do get it. I do get it. Like, you guys want to level fast, but let's be real here. Like, if I'm pugging, it's certainly not to carry anyone. Um, I mean, certainly not to carry low levels at least. You know, I feel like that kind of stuff, that's what you would join a community for to do. I know like we host groups doing that, so we don't have to burden people in LFG with that. Um, and the other side of it as well was if you're doing a Sophia, like let's like Sophia 1, and you select no mutators, but then you get paired in LFG with someone that's running like two mutators, for example. And it could be one of those annoying combo ones. Not a fun time for that person that didn't want the mutators either. Which can be a real pain. Like Bing, what's your thoughts on this, buddy?
Yeah, well, first of all, for the emulators thing, I want to add to like even if you're not in helper queue, like it just happens sometimes like you queue for a random dungeon like normally, and if it matches you with some other people, it will like randomly pick the mutators of one person. So if you did want to run with no mutators, some guy wanted to run with just one for like a quest in it or something, and some other guy wanted to run with two just for fun. Well, it will pick one of the three like randomly, which is a bit of a pain sometimes. And as for like helper queue, I mean, it is in the name that it's for helping, but I feel like it's kind of going backwards right now. Like people that want help go into the queue to like hope to find people look higher level than them, while it should be the reverse. I think higher people level should go into the queue to go help out lower level people, like if they want to do that. I think a fix that could work to help that out, if that's not like too hard to implement, is that when you select Helper Queue, you should like have a list of like uh, runs that are already going with like where are they going, what mutators they have, and you just like pick one that you want to join to help out pretty much instead of just matching at random and hoping you get something decent. I think that could be a nice fix, but not sure like how much of a like how hard it is to put in a system like that in the game.
Yeah. So for the Lobby one, the one I actually thought about was so this game likes power scaling, right? It likes so make it so you have to be within 500 power rating of the given target. So that would be 250 each side of the recommended, or to go with that. If you pointed that for the LFG, or you could just have it where you got to be 500 from the bottom half of it. Um,
Yeah,
it really depends how they wanted to scale that stuff.
yeah, that could work, and I'm pretty sure to go with that. I'm not sure if I'm just crazy or if I misread something, but I'm pretty sure I've seen a message from a dev in the official Discord saying that like you should get more XP for doing stuff around your current power level rather than doing stuff that's much higher than you. So I'm not sure if that's actually a thing or if I misread and it's just bugged. But
I do agree with you. I do recall seeing something like that. The problem with is those end zones. I can't speak from a level 10 experience. I'm going from 18. I think I started on Wingrave just to power level him up with the guys we were running XP groups within the guild and community. Um, I think they were giving me, depending on the amount of events and that we done, I think sort of around 10 to 14k XP a run. Which at that level, that's quite a bit of XP. It takes a little longer than the pages and that, I do admit, but it has been a nice supplement. I don't know how it is at lower levels though, and whether how much of that holds true. Maybe it's because I'm closer to, uh, like, there's still a massive power gap there, but maybe it's because I'm closer to that than they are. Maybe they're getting a little less. Maybe they're getting like 6k. I just wouldn't know without trying that personally. But yeah, I do agree with you. There has been something said like that out there in the community.
yeah. I mean, right now, I think like the last dungeon, Allowed Art, is giving like a lot of EXP no matter what power level you are, which I'm not sure if it's intended or not, but I've just been running it with like my low level Venomous and just grabbing a level 30 Tempest to pretty much kill anything in my path because Tempest is broken. And I've just been farming EXP this way. It's going pretty quick, honestly. So I'm not sure if that is intended to, but I know they are redoing a pass on EXP after the last update they've made that pretty much broke everything. So we'll see pretty soon. I think it's supposed to come out with the content update, if I'm not mistaken, which is probably next week.
That's actually something you brought up. Okay, the XP. I'll briefly go over that. What did I say last podcast when we had Molten Inferno on? What were they smoking? And now it's being fixed. I'm glad to see that they've communicated that what stuff isn't working as intended there. Perhaps it was over nerfed. Who knows? But I'm glad that it's getting changed at least, or at least being looked at. Um, Again, it was just poor timing on my part to start getting into it, but it's the way this game treats me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's nice to see them like go back on the XP stuff they've done. I just wish they like right now they do give somewhat of a date of where they're going to put stuff, but I would like if they would be a bit more precise on things. Because example for the content update, there they said it's like last week they said, oh, it's supposed to drop in a week or two. We are a week after, no clue like at all. Like, is the content update dropping tomorrow? Is it dropping next week? No idea.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, I do agree with you on that one. Um, but in terms of like, how has your gameplay been? Like in group finder wise, like have you noticed any lobbies joining you to try and pinch off the stuff? I mean, we did have one guy yesterday. We were doing a couple of boss runs. And one guy, we kept getting grouped with him, and he just stood there the whole time, piggybacking off the like. So we were two men in the boss. This was Deceiver Sphere 4. Um, and he just stood there outside and just came in quickly, looted, and went off after we killed it. And he'd done this on all the runs he joined us in, with its. So you got like the AFK farming, you got the lobbies joining, and you got the mutator problem. The mutator problem itself was brought up by I think it was like two guild members that were going on about it uh in general chat the other day. That we just we just all sat there chilling, playing the game, and something they said to mention on the podcast, like that is one of their gripes with currently pugging in this game. As for the helper queue, I won't lie, I only just found out about that. I never bothered to look. And it wasn't until I had a mission to get some helper coins. And I was like, where am I getting these helper coins from? It turns out you have to join the help queue. I was like, oh, okay, great. Maybe one day I'll do that, but I mean,
mean,
let's be fair. I got bigger priorities to min max right now.
I will say the Elper coins are actually like a pretty good incentive to have people go out in Elper queue and just do some stuff. But like, I right now I'm not even sure if there's a difference between Elper queue and just normal matchmaking. Like, it just drops you into a dungeon with random people, and that's pretty much it.
I got a
Like,
question for you then on the helper coins quickly. And maybe people listening might have the same question. What you actually use them for? Because I haven't a clue right now, personally. I know there's a vendor that might open up once I get some, but what is it you can actually get with these? Like, what is making me going out of my way to get these?
so when you do the quest, you actually do get a vendor. Like, it's the same guy that gives you the quest. So I think his name is Wolf. Like, it's a big NPC in the like big owl that's in the skylight. And basically, you can trade your coins for a couple resources. For now, there's not much, but they have like I think they can update it later down the line and put more stuff in it. But I think right now you can trade them for gloomstones, which I mean is pretty. You can craft them, but like just having another way to get them is nice. I think Gloom shards. Don't quote me on that one. I'm not 100% certain, but I think you can buy some Gloom shards of that. And I think right now the best thing to spend your coins on, and you can actually buy trickster keys, which that is pretty cool. Like
I
having a consistent way to get trickster keys is pretty decent.
I won't lie, I thought you was gonna say some sort of like special like housing decorations or
Oh no. No. It's just materials, like basic stuff for now. But like I said, they have the option to put more stuff in that, and like I said, maybe like some cosmetic stuff, housing stuff, some rarer things. Like they can put plenty of things in that to like have people want to go in Elper Q. But I think right now they're just kind of testing the waters and seeing if people like that system or not. So they just put some pretty basic stuff in it.
um okay, I'll give feedback based on what you've said. Um I won't join in a queue just to get some materials. Like I could spend so much bad time. Sure, I could help someone, and yeah, like if I'm after some karma, sure, I might just do that. But um, just for those materials that you've said, don't really see the point of it myself. I could just be sat there grinding, trying to min max more different characters. Don't really need the help.
Yeah.
don't
I
really need
mean,
to go and help. If there was some decorations in there, if there was something I could earn that meant something more than just materials, sure. Like if there was decorations in there or some skins, some they haven't got to be fantastic skins, but they could release some skins that you can pick up for your Wayfinders to add some variation. That would definitely help out the fashion contest, by the way, if they added some more variations that you could earn in game that way. Um, I'd be more inclined to do it. But for materials, from my point of view, min max or get some materials that I'll probably get from trying to min max. And I can also level while min maxing as well.
yeah. And also, I feel like I'm not sure if it's just me, but right now the game feels like 10 times easier when playing solo rather than playing with people. Like, I think I feel playing with people is almost an handicap. Because, well, first, if you're playing with pugs, you have no clue who you're grouping with, so that can always go pretty bad. But even if you're grouping with people that you know and you play with, I'm not sure if the scaling is like really over the top or something, but enemies are just pooky when you have three people in a group, and same thing for bosses. Like some bosses that I can easily solo just by myself with some decent gear become like a nightmare with three people because they do so much damage and they are so much harder to kill for some reason.
Like, all I can say to that, and I'll put 12 years of experience on this. When pogging, always assume the worst. Because you bet your ass, 9 times out of 10, you're rezzing their ass because they've done something completely stupid. Like, pogging is where the fun is, to be fair. Like, if you are after a laugh, you'll find it there eventually. Couple of runs, you're bound to meet someone. There's always, or you'll find that one guy that can't mute his mic. Like, that's that guy. And I actually had that on the first when recording the playthrough. Just one guy, and then you had the other guy just absolutely shouting and swearing at him to mute his mic. I just couldn't put that on YouTube, to be fair, some of the words in that. But and I did think about muting it, but I really wanted the music from the first in there and the atmosphere there, to be in there. I think the first is a really good fight. It feels very MMO like, and I hope they go down that path with the raids a little more. She had some good tell mechanics as well. That if you pay attention to what she actually does, you can. It just makes the fight that much more easier. Going by the Q sounds. But
Yep,
yeah.
I know she's a really good. I mean, I did mention it in another podcast when I talk about like boss ramping up and like the curve of the game, but like bosses just go up and up and up all the way until the first, which I think is pretty much the best fight in the game, and then it just drops off after that in quality. So
In terms of bosses, though, there was one which I'm not sure if it was overscaled, but I've heard a load of people have had this. It was the first encounter of Riven, whatever
yeah,
you call him,
yeah, I
and
actually did him yesterday. Yeah.
that guy pounces on you mid dodge, and he knocks you down and just one shots you.
Yep,
And it
he
doesn't
does.
matter how much I dodge. Doesn't matter if I was blocking. I tried double dodging. That guy caught me the whole time. Um, and like I even had a couple of people I ended up streaming this to because they just didn't. They said just get good. I was like, no, no, seriously, look, I can't escape this guy. So I'd go and do the ultimate attack and stuff, and I think about halfway near the end, he would just pounce me each time, and there's no way of getting rid of it. I've heard going in and doing it ranged is a little better, and but the safest bet I also heard was to go in with at least two people, just to
Well,
finish the fight off quicker.
seems like once again we have pretty different experience because I actually like did Riven for the first time yesterday. I unlocked him and all that, and I was doing him solo, like I did pretty much the rest of the game. And he did get me like the first two times, like his pound stuff. He did like just get me out of surprise, and he one shot me. And since I'm solo, that's been like a whole fight reset, like
Was you
instantly.
ranged on melee in that though?
I was ranged, so that definitely plays. But I feel like when you see him disappear, if you just dodge like the moment he goes away, you're gonna dodge the pounds.
That's the thing we did though, because
Yeah.
Wolf was saying, "Oh no, that fight's easy," and I was showing him, and it was like just one shot, one shot, one shot, one shot. And then it got to the point where we got out wiped the event, so we went back in. And then his attack pattern on the second instance changed, and we was able to do it that way. But the fact that that one instance took 6 lives and for us to go back in and do it again, like, something going on there. Probably needs a little tuning.
I don't know. I mean,
Maybe I had a bugged encounter on that whole first run, but yeah.
you know, like I said, he killed me like 2 times. The first time you see him, then I got him. Second time that you fight him, I got him first try, and when I did the actual fight, I got him first try. Also, like he never managed to bounce on me, other than the first 2 times. So I don't know.
So, so the other encounters I had of him, he was fine. Like they were easy. It was just that first one where apparently he can one shot you by
Yeah,
sucking your.
I
Uh,
I don't even think he can actually do the pounce in the other fights. Like I've never saw him do it. I saw him disappear and stuff, but he never really tried to pounce on me again. So maybe that's just like a first encounter thing.
it's definitely interesting. I mean, I uh, would love to be able to go back and try that again. See if I could replicate what we had that day, but. I'm not the only one to have had the problem. There are some others out there. It seems to be doesn't seem to be a wide scale thing either. But there are some people where they would take him down to the point he had like 1 HP and they couldn't kill him. He just wouldn't phase either and stuff like that. So it does make me wonder if it was a bugged instance in that case. But him, because of that, he is a bane. Like he has caused me the most problem out of all the bosses. Like even against Dread Legion, Riven in that bugged or not bugged instance took the cake, took the crown for that at least.
Uh, I don't think I've struggled on. Well, no, I did actually. The only bosses that I struggled with were the 2 times that I did a boss with a group. Like Argent, and the first time I did it first try, and like it was a cakewalk. Then I did him a second time with 2 people, and we had to retry like 12 times, I think, before we managed to kill him. Then later down the line, I tried Dread Legion while I was like not even close to unlock him with 2 other people, and it was a pain. Like I think we tried 8 times before getting in, but then I unlocked him a bit after, and I did it first try again. It was like, this fight is way easier than when I did it with other people for some reason.
Speaking of Dread Legion being, I'm gonna put you on the spot here.
All right.
How many times did it take Molt to do Dread Legion?
And that was actually the time I did it while under geared, and it was just so funny. We had Malt, and I can't remember for the life of me the name of the other person that we had with us. I'm so sorry about it. It's someone in our guild, but I can't remember the name. And like that person actually did the fight a couple times, so he was kind of trying to carry us to the fight pretty much. And every time, like we were just going in, Malt would fall down one of the holes, so either right at the start or at the last phase, he would fell down the parkour. So we pretty much had 3 people, but we did the whole fight as 2 people because Malt would be dying all the time from the parkour stuff and not even the boss itself, which was just hilarious to look at.
Yeah,
But
well, Molt
yeah,
Knights exposed, right? Molt Knights exposed.
Malt can't do parkour at all. Like I said, we tried the boss I think 8 times, and we got in the when we got it the 8th time. I think Malt died at the last parkour section, so we had to do the last phase like we were just 2 people pretty much.
Feels bad for Molt, man.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we've kind of covered group finder issues now and said our piece on that, and we've also exposed Molt in the process. And no doubt he'll be in the comments section or in the Discord. All I'm gonna say is pay to win, buddy. Uh, so let's go on quickly to the housing contest that we got currently going on in the Discord.
Yeah.
So gonna let you explain this since you're like advertising it and stuff. And, you're kind of hosting it, shall I say? So yeah, take it away. Let 'em know what it's all about.
So this month contest is a housing contest, as you mentioned, instead of a fashion contest. So we are having people in the guild, in the Discord, just putting pictures of their house, and we will be judging the best one and giving prizes to the top three, like we did last time with the fashion stuff. But we did change stuff a bit this time just to let people have a bit more time because for the fashion contest, we gave people 1 week to post their stuff. This time around, instead, we have the channel open for the whole month, which means people can post their house at any point during the month and we will judge them only at the end of the month. But people need to keep in mind for that they have only one entry. So if they do post their stuff, let's say today, for example, right now it's the 7th of September. So if they post their house right now, that's it. They can't like change it and repost it later down the line. So kind of decide, do I want to post my stuff now while I like what I have, or wait a bit and modify it and maybe drop it later, like down at the end of the month.
You know
But
what's really weird right now? Quickly to interrupt, sorry.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
You're on the 7th and I'm on the 8th.
Oh, yeah, that is true actually. Magic
What-
of
what-
time zone. You're living in the future, man.
Yeah, exactly. I just found it hilarious. Like when you said it, I was like, "Holy shit, it's the 8th for me, though." I'm like day ahead, man.
And you got less time than other people do for the fashion contest, not the fashion, the housing contest. So better get on
I
that.
I tell you what, I am looking forward to the next fashion contest as well. Because I feel like with the different skins that they're releasing in between now and then, people pick them up, and you got a whole bunch of different colors. People also finishing like the battle pass or getting close to finishing the battle pass in our guild and that. Um, yeah, it's going to be some different dyes and stuff like that. I mean, even the housing really, like people are picking that stuff up off the battle pass, and there's some good stuff. I like just a quick look in the channel, and I've also seen someone else's house that they haven't posted yet. They're still working on it. Yeah, definitely going to be some good stuff. But
And
yeah, if you want to
there's
continue with the housing con, sorry, I just had to. I just
no
found it
worries.
really amusing. Sorry, pretty immature, but I do like to have some fun at the same time.
That's all right. I mean, you can always brag about being in the future, I guess. So that's cool. But yeah, for the housing contest, then yeah, we already have a couple people posting their stuff, which are looking pretty interesting. So like, pretty excited to just go through those. But other than that, yeah, prices will be the same as last month. So titles for the top three and first place will get himself a nice $5 to spend on Rune Silver or something else, maybe, who knows. And yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much goes around for the housing contest. I will say though, as you mentioned, for next month we will go back again to a fashion contest. But right now, I'm kind of undecided or in if we should do a general fashion contest like we did last time, or if we should put a team in it. So maybe if people are interested in one idea more than the other, just post it down below so we can know what you guys would prefer. But yeah, we're kind of debating which way we're going for next month.
Yeah, we'll cave into supply and demand, right? Speaking of events, now there is an event going on in the Discord, but by the time this podcast goes out, because it is Friday for me, and this would be posted Monday, which would be the 11th. No, this would be part two. Sorry, so this is the 13th. Um, we have another event, another giveaway. Sorry, giveaway event. The scroll up. So this ends on Thursday the 21st, so there won't be long to get in on this. If you do want to get in on this, we are doing a random draw giveaway. The prizes are £10 for Steam or PlayStation Network. There will be up to 3 winners. Okay. So yeah, if you want to get involved with that, or the housing contest for that matter, you can join our Discord. Links in the description. You can join the guild or stay as a community member. Doesn't matter. You're welcome to stay as long as you want. Simply go up to the events. Make sure you click the interested button, and it's out of that pool of players that you are going to be random draws from. With the housing contest, you can't actually click the interested button in that because it's under happening now. So with that, like being said, you just go down to the housing contest Discord channel. Was it up to? It was a max of 5 photos or something, right? As well, they have to do in one post, something like that.
Yeah, I either 5 photos or videos are allowed to if they just want to walk around and show us what's up. That's totally fine too.
Cool.
Could
I'll
even go
make sure.
into a nice little edit, maybe. Who knows?
I will. I will have to update about the videos. I've got the. So to enter, simply post your housing photos below. Give us as much view as possible. A max of 5 photos per entry, and must be within the same post. So once you post, that's it. That's your entry. You can't add. I mean, you could delete a post maybe to repost if it meant that much to you, but
I
yeah.
mean, I would probably see it, so I would probably smack your fingers a bit. Just that's not allowed.
So yeah, okay. To clarify, if you do want to repost, do it before Bing sees.
Do it while
Um,
I'm sleeping, pretty much.
yeah. So he's on A time, guys, right? So if you do want to enter, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. There you go. You have an opportunity to. Okay. So with those out the way, let's get on to the big topic, okay? Because we've actually put one of these in a video, which went out today at the time of recording, which was about the ecosystem, and then how to get the optimal echoes. So this topic is third-party application ideas. So by that, if you go to the Echo video that we done, you'll see there's a website, right? It's made by someone else. It's nothing to do with us. So credit all to the devs of that website. It's a database website where you can go and look up all the echoes in game. I don't think the database is complete at the time of recording, but you do have a very large majority that are in there right now. So you can look up where to go farm them. You can plan ahead on the stats, see the different rarities, etc., like that. Go look at that video if you want more information, really. And yeah, so third party applications. Bing, let's start with you on this one. And like, what would you like to see added or someone to make for this game as a quality of life?
Well, I'm gonna steal the idea from you before you say it because I know you have the same one in mind. But I would really like a website or an app or anything that allows us to just make builds for character. Just put in some echo, some accessories, and just mess around with a nice build so we can see like what our stats would end up looking like without having to destroy pretty much our whole build in game and mess around and needing to find echoes and that could also serve to see like, oh, I'm missing that and that echo for my build, I should grind it. So yeah, just a nice little build thingy.
For reference for people there, let's put it in Warframe context. It'd be like Warframe Builder or Overframe. Something
Yeah,
like that in this game, even if it was just half as good, would be a massive quality of life feature, especially when build planning for endgame stuff. I know endgame
absolutely.
stuff isn't as relevant right now, but there's still a lot of people like me that want to min max stuff, and having that to plan ahead to know what accessories I'm going for, but I can go and view them all. No, okay, right, I need to go and farm this here, farm that there. Echoes, farm there, and have it all in a nice stat budget. It's fantastic. It really be helpful, I think, to a lot of players. Not even just the min maxers. Just to clarify, like, think of the new players. Think of when this game goes free to play. Something like that. It's gonna be big.
Oh yeah, I mean, even myself, like I would consider myself a pretty casual player, and even in Warframe, like I'm always over on the side just to mess around with stuff and seeing what I'm missing, pretty much. And especially right now, since we don't have like actual loadouts and way to save them in Wayfinder, knowing like if you have a way to save your build in those sites, it's always nice to just know, okay, I'm using these echoes, so you can just put them back in game if you swap stuff around or if you're sharing echoes between characters, you can always like do a good old like text file and just note them there if you want. But I mean, it always looks better in an actual build format rather than just a random document on your desktop.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go since you stole my one. You put me on the spot a bit now.
Yeah, you gotta think now.
I'm actually gonna go with something very similar. So let's say for whatever reason no one wants to make that yet. I'm actually gonna go with something like the Echo database, but for accessories. For crafted and for dropped as well. Because I think there are some questions around that. And the UI in game doesn't help the crafted stuff whatsoever as well. So it would be nice to also plan around that for stats, plan around for set bonuses, and if you could have a let's say kind of if it was to be like build templates as well, have it so the set bonus gets added to the stats. So if it's 10% ability power, add the 10% on to the stats, so you can physically see it.
Yeah. I mean, I actually agree with that accessory stuff, especially like if we compare it to the Echoes one that we have right now, the database. For Echoes, it's kind of easy to know where you would get them because they have the same name as the enemy they come from. So you just need to find that enemy and you can just grind it to get its Echo. But like for accessories, I have no clue who is dropping an Argent Shrike or Preserved Voice or whatever else name accessories have. Like, I don't know who drops that. That's not obvious to know. So having a database with that would certainly help out. Because right now,
The
even if I would want like grind accessories, I wouldn't even know where to start. So
so the other reason why I want the accessory one as well is because there's a lot of conflicting information out there currently about like what level those accessories drop at. Can't remember the name of the accessory I have on Cairo, so it'd be on the Echo video. It's like burnt out something. Um and it grants just ability power. That's level 22, and I've seen someone I think with 24, 25 something. Apparently you can go up to 27 on it. But it would be nice to have the database to clarify that kind of stuff. And to also know like if that stuff does drop at those levels, like is it tier 4 I'm farming that on to get that, or does it drop at lower tiers? Like is that capped, or little things like that? I think that'd be great help.
yeah, absolutely. And while you were talking about all of this, I actually thought of another idea that could be nice for a site or something if someone wants to make it, and it would be a like dynamic map or of some sort. So let's mainly for like the island, I would say, because since dungeons are randoms, but just a map of like the whole island section with places where you can find mobs and like what they drop and like materials and all that stuff. So and that could keep updated. It could also include like world bosses and their timer, but since you can kinda just up between servers to skip the time like for the respawn, that's kind of irrelevant, I think, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. I could see that depending if they keep adding new ones as they make more zones, right? I feel like if they did put world bosses on a timer system, like going forward, I could see something like that being useful. I know like Guild Wars 2 has world boss timers. So you can do like a world boss train and you just go around to such and such at X time to keep farming. So you just move around as a group as a train to the next point afterwards to go hit that boss. Maybe you've got to stand there, have a 5 minute wait or something till the next one spawns. But a world boss train could work. But that also depends if they allow bigger group sizes in the open world. Because right
Yeah,
now I think three is kind of meh. If you could just at least put that to six, put it to however much you know, if you're making raids, right? You said that that's going to a bigger party size. If you can allow the open world to have a bigger party size as well, that would also allow like guild events and that to take place a little easier. Rather than us all trying to sync up to get on the same server, which doesn't really work that well.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I think like why world bus trains work in other MMOs like Guild Wars or like WoW is because these game works on like bigger server that are static and don't change, while Wayfinder works on instances that just get like generated as people connect and disconnect. So if Wayfinders add actual servers that just stay on, it would allow for that kind of stuff, and it would be easier to just join with people also. Like if everyone's on the same server, then you can probably go to the same place and see your buddies, even without being a group with them. So that could also be a fix, but I would be surprised if they would suddenly change to that kind of servers. That seems like a big thing to do.
I mean, the only way I could see it possibly being introduced is in neighborhoods where you would go to your neighborhood to party up and then go into the instance that way.
Maybe, yeah.
Um, I mean, yeah, that was so. No, I know with Guild Wars back in the day, back in the early days, you would go to your guild hall to get grouped up for guild missions, right? And then there's like that teleporter system you can use to send everyone to a certain waypoint to go
Yeah,
off
but
and do that stuff.
Yeah, but it's even like for Guild Wars, even if you can do that, since the game works on an actual like server system, you can also tell your guild to just meet up at a certain point in the map, and it would work. Like you don't have to go
Oh
through
yeah,
the.
yeah, for sure.
So
But like, I mean, just something close to that where you meet up at the neighborhood and then go in as a six squad. And I
yeah,
think that might be the compromise to that.
yeah, because technically they could allow that like the same thing in Skylight. Just like have people meet up in Skylight and make like their own instance in Skylight, and then just go out in the islands, and that could work. But since you need to like jump from server to server to do that, it just doesn't work, I think.
Like,
But
I will hint one thing to the devs, and maybe you won't agree with this, but if you ever add a subscription service, I would pay for that if you made that a feature in it. Just saying. I really would. If I had a way of grouping up with six and I could bounce them into places, sure. I'd pay for it. I'd pay. Why not? I mean, like, WoW charges a sub, right? So it seems like a good feature I'd pay for at least.
it seems you would be paying for a lot of like stuff to be put in the game from what I'm hearing tonight. But I totally disagree with a subscription service. Like that's probably the thing I hate the most about WoW. Like I think just having to pay for a game, pay for expansion packs, and then pay to play the game is just way too much.
I mean, I think of it as in this game as optional, right? And it would only be like, obviously, in this game, if you paid for a sub, it'd have to come with a battle pass. And then there's just features added on top of that. But it really depends how much the battle pass is in the first place. So we don't have pricing on that right now, right? Pretty sure
I
we
mean,
don't.
we probably do. It's just that so many people started with the battle pass that the info just doesn't get thrown around much,
Yeah,
right?
like yeah, I've not seen anything, but then yeah, as you, it's probably been buried by now anyway. The other thing actually, I do wanna. I know this is a really kind of off-topic one. Would be the Discord server. It'd be really great. I don't know how they would do it. If you could pick like interesting comments or something, you know, decent questions that a lot of people would want to know answers to, and maybe have a channel where you could kind of highlight those. So instead of people asking the same question again and again and again in that Discord, like they can go and check out that channel first to see if their answers are there. I mean, in that chat Discord, so many decent questions and answers get buried. And like, let's be real, a lot of that chat is just
It's a
ah,
pain, but I'm pretty sure there is or was a like suggestion channel or something like that at some point where people could just drop, stuff they would like in the game and people would just upvote them. But I don't see it anymore, and I'm not sure if I'm just imagining stuff or not. But pretty sure there was a forum similar to that.
I know a
But that
bunch of stuff got changed in it when they because the recruitment used to be done differently on that Discord as well.
But
Uh,
like, even if there was a firm, I remember like just seeing people posting the same questions like all the time in it instead of just upvoting the uh, the other one. And like they even have an official website for suggestion and feedback and stuff, and people still like post the same questions every time in there instead of just upvoting the one that's like already at the top.
actually,
So
speaking of website stuff, actually, I would like them to have online forums similar to Warframe's website.
pretty sure they do. Don't like I said, the suggestion website. You can like just put stuff you would like.
Not a
Yeah.
suggestion website, but so it has like general topics,
Oh,
and
like a
then
forum.
yeah, like a forum, like what Warframe has. Because technically that'd be better than Discord for finding some of the information out as well. Like they could just, you
With
could
it,
just.
like Discord has forums. But like
I mean,
I feel
Discord
like
right now jumps up so fast you barely read the stuff that's going on in there, and so much of it is just absolute bollocks.
yeah.
I
No,
won't lie.
I don't mean the like general chat because yeah, this thing is just a whole mess. But like Discord has actual like forums to just post stuff in them. But I feel like your website, like Warframe does, is a bit old school at this point. Like, I don't think people really use those anymore.
I won't lie. Call me old school, but I love those websites.
I mean,
Like I
you are pretty
do.
old school, so
I get told that a lot. So the thing about me, right, guys, is I'm from the old days where you had an engine website and TS3 was the thing. Discord wasn't even around, wasn't even a thing. Amazing, right? That was the golden age of gaming. I won't lie, it really was. Like
was it,
now,
or is it just nostalgia talking?
hey, it might be a bit of both, but I would like to certainly go back to that time and try.
Because I mean, I can't really like go against what you're saying because I'm too young to even like have experience. Well, I mean, I do like I did know TeamSpeak and that stuff. Like I'm not that young either, but I just never really used it, and I wasn't as much in old MMOs as you were. So
With TS back in the day, you never knew what you was gonna get that day. Discord, it's so obvious you're seeing it a mile off because of all the chat and that. But a proper voice channel like TS, like you just didn't know what you was gonna get that day. Especially when we were in Star Wars: The Old Republic, as large as we was. You could either go in there and shit's kicked off that day, or I mean, there was that one time where you can go in there and find out funny stuff's gone down on someone trying to stream something on Twitch, all that fun stuff. So yeah, just a can of worms. With Discord, everything's said in a channel, and I mean, the one thing I have noticed over the years is not a lot of people want to use voice comms. Like, there's not a lot of chill out time anymore, and everyone's like, "Oh, just say it in chat instead." And that's the bit I miss. I miss the interaction. Text Discord kind of wrecked that with the text channels. I mean, something was bound to come along and do it anyway. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's my view. I'm probably fucking wrong on that, but like you said, like it probably is nostalgia. But that's how I feel. Like in today's world, people just don't want to come and chill, man, for too long.
I mean, no, I get you. I mean, people definitely prefer to just text right now instead of going to voice chat and talk, which does kind of kill a bit of just interaction and chilling with people. But then again, it's just like so convenient. It's hard to pass on, I would think. I mean, we could try. We could like remove every single text channel from the Discord for a bit and see how people just break down. But
Oh boy, can you imagine the reaction of that?
that would be. And I mean, like, I'm talking right now, but I'm pretty much like the first offender of that. Like, I don't ever go into voice chat, and that might be a bit of something I need to work on. But
There's one thing I'm looking forward to though, and that's the raids, right? Because when they come along, guess what? You want to be in a stag, you're coming on fucking voice chat. Because if you're not coming on voice chat, you're not coming with me. I just couldn't without voice chat. And like, I have tried raiding before, where it's just text type. And don't get me wrong, you've got a group that knows somewhat of what they're doing, pugging. It's not too bad. But there's always like one or two people, most got like runs that will come into your group. It's like, can you explain me this, boss? I've only ever done it once before, and I'm not sure how it works properly. It's like, fuck. You just sat there 10 minutes typing.
yeah, I mean, hey, at least they're asking instead of just going to the fight blind and just dying all over. So
Oh, we get people like that. They're just kicked. They're gone.
yeah, because I did try to like I never was really into raiding when I played WoW, but I did try just some like looking for group raids, just try them out, and obviously it's just full pug, like nobody's in group. So when someone doesn't know a single mechanic and just dies like every time, it's such a pain.
How did you find pug life though? Was you ever kicked out of squad for dying or anything like that? Like,
Well, like I mentioned before, I've pretty much always been somewhat of a casual player. Like I never tried some super hardcore end game stuff. Like I said, I just said, I did looking for group raids. Like clearly, I'm not a hardcore person, so I'm not the type to just get mad over bugs. Like the type of content I usually do is so simple that even if we get some pretty stupid people, like it's usually manageable to finish it. Like even if they're doing anything wrong, but if like worst case, just quit the group and restart. I guess it's not that bad. I don't.
I
I don't get heated over that stuff really.
I really hope, based on the LFG right now, if they add raids and that's in an LFG, I really hope like there's no level 9s or anything appearing into them.
Oh my
That
god.
because that might be a bit of an outrage. Don't get me wrong, there'll probably be those people that do like a lobby raid to go, look, we done something world first, and it's like, yeah, okay, cool, right, onto the proper stuff. But um outside of that, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I really don't know how that kind of stuff would actually, that is another third party application idea. Could be like raid comps as well. Kind of like so you can store your team's gear sets. And let's say you have different bosses. I mean, does require like defense and resilience and mag defense to work a little better, or and crit to have a percentage and stuff. Um, but it'd be nice to plan because in some games bosses have weaknesses, right? Sometimes they take more physical, sometimes they take more ranged um, through their defenses. So it really, I don't know, something like that where you could kind of pre-plan bosses as well.
Yeah.
But that's going a little way into the future a bit. But
I mean,
hint, hint, you've got a couple of months to make that right and experiment around, I guess.
we still don't even know like how are they going to handle raids. Like right now, we don't have any fight that even requires like a certain amount of shot calling or anything. It's just pretty much dodge the circle on the ground and don't die. So I'm really curious to see how they're going to handle stuff and make it actually challenging and make people actually require to work together.
Yeah, it's interesting because right now we've got content in the game that requires well above our power level, right? And that stuff's getting done pretty easy, and you don't even need a tank there either, really.
Yeah.
You could benefit from a healer, depending on like if you're going like if you're an all melee group, you probably want a healer on that because right now range has quite an advantage in the game, right? Like, I
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even call that an advantage. I think right now playing range is just optimal. Like guns are so broken; they do so much damage, and without any risk, that just playing gun is just the way to go. I feel. But
I do feel I do feel like there needs to be some change there. I have seen this topic on Reddit, and perhaps we can quickly discuss it as a bonus last topic of this video. Let's go into it. We're going to go with the bonus topic of melee versus range. Let's open this can of worms because this is going to be a fun one for sure. So a couple of things I've seen on the Discord and on Reddit is either nerf range, which I can't believe I'm saying that. Just found it amusing to say that, or have it so when you're in melee, have some sort of like damage reduction or something like that. I know right now someone here is like, ah, no, that's not the way to do it. But hey, guys, like these are some of the suggestions that you lot have all said on like Discord and Reddit. Don't moan at me for repeating them.
yeah. I mean, right now, I think the problem with weapons that we have is, guns just bring a ton of damage with super safe, like since they are range, and you don't need to know like combos and like cancel your animations, but you just click and you shoot, and that's it. So super simple and easy. While I feel the other weapons don't bring much else to the table. Like two-handed weapons, I think are an exception because they bring a lot of break damage, which is always useful. Like at least having one in your group, I think is always nice just to break the guard of the enemy really quick. But sword and shield and daggers, I don't really see like what they are bringing to the table compared to guns or two-handed.
Well, okay. I'll follow up with that. I kind of know what your answer is going to be to this, okay? But I'm going to ask it for the sake of it anyway. Because I know some people, especially certain sword and shield users in the guild, will be interested to know this. What about the new sword and shield that allows you to carry some people?
Yeah. Like that one, I will agree. It is looking strong. Like we don't even know if it's really so. It's on paper, it seems strong. But the thing is, the thing that's making it strong is not like the sword and shield. It's just the ability that comes with it. Like you could slap that ability on any other weapon, and it would work the same. So I don't think like it really makes sword and shield bring something different.
The only reason I would stick it on a more supporty character, such as like Wingrave, was so to allow the DPS to actually use DPS weapons. Like I just don't see a weapon like that really pumping numbers for them, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, I agree with you, but I was kind of going the other way. Actually, I was thinking of maybe bringing that weapon on a more caster heavy character, like let's say Kairos, who doesn't really need a weapon, and just have that as like a defense layer, pretty much, while he's just dropping nukes on everyone.
You know, that could work, because isn't there... I've seen a build with a Cairo Sword and Shield. There's something about infinite rakes with Sword and Shield, and I think it might be the combo. I'm not sure if it's a certain Sword and Shield that you need to get that going. I'd have to look into it,
You know
to be
that
fair.
shield attacks do more break damage? Like, basically, your normal attack is just slashes with a sword that do more HP damage, and your heavy attack is only shield stuff that does more break damage. So that might be what they're on, but
I know, like, because you can do the click once, hold E, and I know on Wingrave it resets the combo. I'm wondering if... I'm gonna have to go look this up anyway. I won't lie, Sword and Shield on Kairos, um, not really something I looked into. I was more into working with the Epitaph and getting the bonus off that to melt things quicker. Might be worth it now, thinking about it. As a fun build, at least. Not sure how viable it would be in the long run in terms of damage per second, because don't forget, once you've burnt all of your cooldowns off, you've got, you're going to need some weapon power there or something.
yeah,
If you can get your stacks back, depends on how quick you can get them back as well. So
yeah. Well,
choices.
Sword and Shield does bring some like pretty consistent DPS because they have the option to just cancel their animation with blocking. So what you can do is just like do a full combo, and when you do your last attack, instead of just waiting for it to end and then be able to move again, you can just block for a split second and start another combo like directly. So you can just go from one combo to another in like a couple of frames. So that can bring some good DPS, but you can do all of that and like try to be as quick as possible to do your combos, or you can just bring Tempest and press Q on people and one shot them. So, you know, I don't know.
I was just trying to see if I could find the stats of that weapon. I can't remember who I sent them to. It might have been Inferno. I'm just gonna have a quick look quickly. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna have to double fact check myself here. Ability power, resilience, weapon power, crit power. Actually, legacy wouldn't be too bad. It's just a shame. I was just double checking the stats that the weapon brought, because if it brought both defense types, that might be an issue running it that way that you said, because that'd be a loss of offensive stats there. Comes with 400 mag defense. It's a shame it's not physical, because that would have been a little more useful to Kairos, and just to cover the weak spot there. But
Well,
I
I
can see
mean,
why they put that on there. Like, if that's a Wingrave weapon, because mag defense definitely covers his weak spot, right? It's very physical, and this would just...
maybe depends because mag defense usually is kind of linked to projectile stuff, and Wingrave kind of can just nullify those with his shield. So that's a thing too. But anyway, right now, in this moment, I would prefer to have a ton of mag defense because I feel it's the only defense that actually works. Like Fizz defense just doesn't work right now, I think. So might as well just stack on mag defense. That one seems to be doing work, at least on bosses attack like AoEs and stuff. It seems to be reducing damage, which is nice. But
I've just also I was just looking at Rose and Thorn. Yeah, Rose and Thorn now, and noticed something. Comes with
yeah,
both defense types on this one. So it's got physical defense 300, mag defense 300, crit power 240, crit rating 249, weapon power 124, and max HP. It doesn't come with any ability power or anything like that. And I know a couple of people in the guild that really want to use that weapon on a certain ninja character, and I know they were going after ability power, so that's kind of gonna suck for them. Um, But
Just
hey, like you get some defense, right?
yeah. I mean, little side note, I find it funny to like just hear you saying out the stats of the weapons because I feel it really brings out like the fact that you're more hardcore and I'm more casual because I never even looked at weapons stats like ever. Like you just reminded me that those actually exist. I'm
Oh
just
boy.
I'm just picking weapons like, oh, this one looks cool. I'm just gonna grab that. Like no joke, you could put like a gun to my head right now and tell me like name the stats that Tempest has, which is my most used weapon, and I couldn't even tell you. Like I have no clue.
I can name one only because I found this one interesting. Tempest has physical defense.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah. I'm about 90% sure going off the top of my head it's physical defense because I was looking at Kairos' stats when I put the Tempest on him and I leveled it up and that. It's like, huh, where am I getting all this physical defense from? Like, I'm not statting this and my accessories wrong or something. I went and checked everything. No, it's the gun. Because when I put Epitaph back on, balance was restored.
Let
Which
me
is
check.
it's really weird to have physical defense on a ranged weapon, though. But I mean, it kind of works for Kairos considering you need to get in close. So yeah, can't
Oh,
complain too much.
okay. I'm just checking the stats right now because since I never did, that's I'm gonna check the other weapons for comparison, but it feels like it's bringing a lot of stats. Like
It, just because so the stats I'm reading are for level 1, and I know they change as the weapon levels
yeah,
when
I'm,
you.
I'm checking level 30, so max level, and I mean like max level Tempest brings like yeah, 1200 weapon power just by itself. Like
Yeah,
that's pretty big.
yeah. I mean, I won't lie. I know it's still early days leveling my Wingrave, but I actually thought, you know what? If I'm leveling it, I might as well invest in some weapon power on him. Put quite a few echoes into him, and I can only just about get close to what Kairos has with the Tempest attached. And that's with Kairos without no investment in like on the echoes into weapon power whatsoever, which is kind of funny in a way.
I mean, Tempest is bringing some pretty juicy stats to the table from what I'm looking at. I mean, that's probably why this gun is just broken. Because for the last couple days, I've been just farming like Hollowed Art with my level 13 Venomous, which like shouldn't even be able to go into that zone, but whatever. And I'm just bringing Tempest along, and I'm like two-shotting people. Like I'm
I know
not even sweating it, just
there was
shooting.
another gun that I had going in the guns quickly. There was another ranged weapon which I was being told is pretty OP that fired really. So I think it was like is it Archlight or
It's the Arc Storm, probably.
Arc
Yeah,
Arcstorm? Yeah.
that's actually the next one I want to craft, ironically. But
Yeah. That, like Wolf was just bringing it into level with Venomous. I think it was he was on, and he was just melting mobs as well on it. And yeah, so going back to the range versus melee debate, okay? Yes, range in this game kind of broke. Be interesting to see if they want to balance that and how they balance that. Because there's a lot of leeway that you can do. You can either nerf range or you can buff melee to make melee worth more playing. Perhaps if you're a melee character, you can have some more resilience or a DR like damage reduction. Like nothing big, mind you, either. Like, don't get me wrong, like you don't need that big, but but to kind of level the playing field a bit, I don't know. Maybe melee has like a flat 10% damage reduction or 15% damage reduction. I don't know. Um, it's not a problem. I mean, it is a problem, but it's not something that's big on my cards right now. It's just something I've noticed a lot of people talking about.
yeah,
My
well,
main goal right now is just min max, and everything can come after I've min maxed. Like I'll give more of a shit once I've got to where I want to be, but until then I'm grinding and I'm doing nothing else but grinding.
I mean, right now I'm glad that Tempest is just broken because that gives me like a safe weapon to go to if I want to do some harder stuff while leveling a lower level Wayfinder. So that's always nice to have something that you can
The
always fall back on.
the one thing I will say about Tempest after using it is I do, it does pack a punch, right? But I don't like how on some encounters, especially if you're on a Kairos, how with how quick stuff melts, it does take a while to build those stacks to actually use the gun ability. Like if you're melting stuff, like don't get me wrong, I shouldn't complain. Stuff's dying very quick, but I would like to build the stacks a little quicker to actually make it usable. And I don't know, maybe that's the compromise to guns as well, is nerf the damage and allow those guns to build those meters quicker.
I mean, I would say like I would like some kind of a rework of how the guns get their stacks or their abilities compared to other weapons. Because the melee weapons have the advantage of you can kind of control how you get your ability. Like, for two hands weapon, you just need to just swing your weapon around and it's going to build up your momentum. For sword and shields, you need to finish a combo with your shield or block something to get your stacks. It's really like controlled. With guns, it's just RNG pretty much. Like you need to have a weak spot just show up and you need to hit it. So sometimes you can get like a couple weak spot back to back and just absolutely destroy enemies, and sometimes you just don't get any and you're just stuck with your left click and that's it.
Yeah, yeah, that caught me off guard when I first started using guns. Wasn't expecting the RNG factor in there as much, and it's great when it appears. But it's been a few times now where stuff just melts that quick that I can't even really do much with the gun. I may as well just not even bother trying to get the stacks.
Yeah. I mean, I've mostly felt it when I was playing gun on my Windgrave, because if you didn't know, Windgrave has two passive. Basically, one is when he does a melee finisher, he like heals himself and an ally that's close to him. And when he does a melee finisher, he also resets the cooldown of his first ability, which is his heal. So basically, when you do a melee finisher, you get two heals. You get your passive one and your ability back. So that's like your main way of actually healing. But when you're playing gun, since you don't have melee finishers, obviously, the way you proc both of those things is when you hit a weak spot. So sometimes if you're really unlucky with weak spots and they just don't show up, you kind of get starved on the heal because you just don't have any way of getting one to show up.
Yeah. Uh, I don't know. That's actually one thing I want to bring up on the weapons. Actually, let's talk about the epitaph quickly. It's a cool weapon, right?
It is. I never
Please,
used it, but
please,
it looks cool.
please, just speed up the heavy attack animation just a little bit. Please, just a little more. Like, I get that you want it to feel heavy. It just feels so slow.
Have
And
have you tried the other two-handed weapons, like the
I,
typhoon or one of the swords? Or
I haven't, to be fair. Like, the epitaph. I hype this scythe up so much, and yeah,
yeah, because
it's great, but
I've been playing around with the typhoon since like day one, so I'm pretty used to the slowness of it. But recently, I've picked up one of the sword, and I kind of forgot that they are like different weapons, so they have different animations and attack and whatever. So the sword feels so much quicker to me because I'm used to the slowness of the axe. But I've never used Epitaph, so I wonder like where does it range in that? Like, is it as slow as you're saying, or is it like the fastest of the heavy weapons? Pretty much. Like I have no clue right now.
I don't know. Like, keeping in mind here, I'm not on about like pushing the quick attack button either. This is purely just a heavy attack. Um, but yeah. Uh, um, There's been a couple of times where mobs have moved out the way. Just I'm swinging the thing. It's like, oh, great. It's not too much of a problem now that I can just dash cancel and stuff, but still, I've had to waste a dash cancel on something that probably would have hit had it been a little bit more faster. What I mean by that, though, really, I feel like some of the weapon animations, I mean, even Sword and Shield to a degree, just need a tiny bit of polish. Um, and perhaps they might look at that if they look to, or even want to balance this stuff. I don't think they'll do it too frequently though. Like I'm not really sure they'll want to do it too frequently. So this might be the ranged meta that we're in right now, and when they eventually get around to looking at it, could spark a more melee meta. Um, I don't know, but I don't know. Melee does need some polish though. I'll give people that point. Even if it means even if it means like buffing the melee in some way or form to compensate, or nerfing range down. I can't win there. Either way, I'm kind of doomed in the comments if I say buff or nerf, so it doesn't really matter. Either one, guys. Okay. Buff or nerf needs a polish.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna say something that's gonna put even more like hate on me, I think, rather than buff or nerf. I think guns need something that brings more skill factor. Because
Oh,
right
can
now
I?
they're just baby mode.
The one thing I did notice with the guns that I did see, I don't know whether you've tried this with Tempest yet, was so you're firing the gun, right?
Yeah.
But if you fired a shot, quick reloaded, fired a shot, quick reloaded, it's actually faster.
Yeah, I've seen people say that like the best way to play Tempest is just fire like quick reload. And when you reload, you just hold your fire button and you should be able to like fire it 3 times really quick, and then you just reload again and just cycle that pretty much.
Yeah,
Apparently that's like the best way to play Tempest.
that would fit under my polishing. That shit needs some polish. Like that needs touching up a bit, I feel.
I mean, I think
Uh,
it's fine because that's just Tempest like passive that when you reload, you fire quicker for a bit. So that's just
oh,
people playing
oh,
around that.
I'm not saying bash it in any kind of way, but like the Tempest itself, which I should have probably clarified a little more. So when I'm doing that, I find depending on the mob, some of the bullets don't hit. It'd be
Yeah,
random though, but like that's what I mean by they need a bit of polish in that regard. Hitting the mobs on some of the stuff, and yeah, just
yeah. Well, actually, I had a case like this yesterday. It was pretty like blatant and just took me off for a second. There was some enemies just going. They're called Husk. You've probably seen them like 100 times. It's just like basically some zombie-looking enemies that come out from the Gloom when you get ambushed. Sometimes it's just super slow and don't do anything much. But there was one just like walking slowly towards me, and I remember just aiming at it. I just put my cursor like on his head because I don't know FPS reflex. I guess I just want to headshot him even if it doesn't do anything. And like my whole shot just went through him and didn't even damage him. I was like, what? Like I it just completely phased through him, and I just pulled my cursor down a little to just aim at his chest, and it just hit him now. Like why does the head not work but the chest does? Like that
yeah.
doesn't seem logical. So yeah, maybe a bit of polish on that. A lot of shots seem to just phase through enemy for no reason at all.
Yeah, and I think with that is I think we are over time quite a bit for our last part two, right? This is yeah. So if you guys didn't listen to part one yet at the end of it, and maybe you've seen the channel update that's probably gone out by the time this video's gone out. We're gonna be doing the podcast just on Monday, shorter time, because we feel like part one does really well. part one is where we normally put our saucy topics and stuff. And part two does have some good topics in, but it's also filled out by other stuff. It could be anything from like random conversations and stuff as well. And they're not, part two's not, people are interested, but they're not at the same time. It's just not doing as well. So we're going to
Yeah.
be shifting to one podcast episode a week. It's going to be anywhere between 50 minutes, hour, 20 minutes. It really depends on what's, going on that day, what the topics are, who we got on, etc. They are definitely not going to be 2 hours though, because again, feedback in the past said that was too long. So we'll try and keep them a little shorter, easier to listen to and stuff. But yeah, this is our last part two, being like,
I
how are
mean,
you feeling on that?
I will say, since part twos that we do tend to do a bit less well, I guess I maybe won't be crucified for saying that guns are a skill-less weapon. So maybe I have hope for that. But other than that, I think, yeah, that's pretty
That's
much a good way to go forward.
that's your saving grace, right?
Yeah, people just won't notice it.
You wait until, because I actually had one guy said, "Are you going to put the?" I think it's in the comments on one of the podcasts. Are we going to upload them to Spotify? I was like,
Boy.
ooh,
I
I'm
mean,
not sure anyone on Spotify would listen to a game podcast. Like if we were covering multiple games in the gaming industry, sure. I'm just not sure. Not yet, at least. I think Wayfinders are in its infancy stage for that. I think it's too young and not as well known yet. Still got to grow itself as a game before we even get that. What are your thoughts on that, being?
yeah, I mean, I think for now, Spotify is pretty much out of the way. But yeah, the game needs to grow, but I think we also need to grow ourselves before like pushing stuff in other places. But I think like if we reach a decent, like I would say maybe let's go around. If we get 1K view like as an average on our podcast, maybe this could be a good time to like consider moving it to Spotify or something. But for now, like I think just stick to YouTube is doing as well.
Yeah. I mean, look at it this way, guys, as well, right? We're still a really young channel. Um, the game is in a young stage, right? I mean, I've got some friends that are like content creators as well and stuff for the game, and I mean they're getting like 1K odd views, but I don't think even then, like I think the game is still too young. Maybe when there's like there's channels getting like 5-6K views consistently about Wayfinder, and they haven't been established already from other content that they've done. All the new Wayfinder content creators like us, it's slow growth because of the game and stuff like that. Like there's not really anyone growing too fast in this. I don't feel like. As I said, the only guys that you have that are big are guys that have covered other games or come from other games and moved their channel over to Wayfinder as their focus point. But anyone starting up is actually still pretty small. I mean, one of the biggest start ones I've saw was 400-500 subs, something like that. But even the views were about 1-2K. Wasn't too big, which is a shame because if you go and play Dragon Ball Legends right now, you'll do that for about a month. You'll probably get some more views. I think that's the difference though between the games, right? Like you have stuff like Dragon Ball and stuff, really established IPs. Don't forget this is an IP that's just come out. It's not well known. It's still growing, and with that, the interest will grow with the game as it grows. But right now, early access, I don't think there's enough supply and demand for for even a podcast to go on Spotify, really. Maybe once free to play comes, it really depends. Like, because then you have a ton more players and that all searching up the videos and listening to different things, etc. But yeah, right now with early access, definitely not. I definitely wouldn't say even if we hit 1K subs, don't expect it within 6 months. Like you're way off on that, and I think even then we'd have to go back and re-edit the videos, right? Being like, I think a lot of them have like the old intro and stuff on, and yeah, stuff like that. Just they don't need updating. Some I know, like they're only like a month old right now and stuff. But the channel's changed so much in a month as we've gone through various stages. Um, yeah,
I mean, honestly, I don't mind keeping them as they are right now, even if they are a bit outdated, just because it kind of shows like how much we've progressed and like put our stuff at a higher quality. So I think that's some nice reminders of yeah our progression, pretty much.
true. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But it would show like here we are back then. Yeah. And with that, like, do you have anything you want to say for the last ever part two? Well, not
No,
ever, but it'll be the last part two for ages.
I mean, not much other than I hope people enjoyed it and I hope they will like the way we are doing the podcast forward, which should bring a bit more quality to it, also with some only spicy topics instead of some bit more filler ones. So we'll see how it
Yeah.
goes.
And don't forget, like, because we're not now having to record two episodes and edit two episodes, that does free up quite a bit of time to do other projects on the channel, like maybe some more guides or some more in-depth, longer guides actually as well, because the Echo one, 45 minutes worth of content down to 7 minutes, quite a tough job, and if I had it my way, 45 minutes would have gone out, maybe even 30 if I wanted it, but it really depends, like on supply and demand, I guess. Like I'm down to do some stuff that gets some views and stuff. I don't mind doing that, but I've still got to do what I want to do as well. I still got to be enjoying it. So if I feel like I want to put out a 30-minute video or 45-minute video, and if it costs me views, I still want to do it personally. I don't know how you feel about that being, but like that's why I'm getting my kick out of. Like,
Oh yeah, I mean I'm pretty much the same as you. Like if I don't enjoy doing something, I don't see any point in doing it. Like I mean, yeah, views will bring us forward and have more people see us and, make stuff rolling. But if we don't even enjoy the stuff that we're showing to people, then why are we doing it?
yeah,
Quality over quantity, I say.
for sure. Yeah, like as I said in part one, for me it's partly so my kids can watch back on this. You know, they like seeing what their dad's up to and stuff. So gameplay wise, the stuff I'm doing is great for them. Uh, and then for me, it's the where I've played had done all that stuff in Star Wars and Guild Wars 2, done some Warframe on the side and stuff. I don't really have anything to show for it other than some outdated videos which were poorly edited in Windows Movie Maker.
The OG. I remember
Yeah.
using that when I was like 9. So, you know, that's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah, and back then, yeah, I really wasn't into editing videos at the time, so I really didn't appreciate the quality either. And you can tell that. There's like some, I think in one of the SWAT videos, there's some like slideshow stuff in,
I mean,
it's
that's
really
funny
wrong.
because I'm the complete opposite of you. Like, I never really enjoyed being like producing stuff, but I've always enjoyed like editing afterwards. So, kind of the complete opposite. And that's kind of one of the reason I want to. I mean, I am trying this podcast right now. I just want to see how it goes just being in front of the camera, so to say, because we don't really have a camera. Just instead of being in the back editing stuff, just put myself forward and show the world what I have to. I mean, what I have to
Hey,
show, pretty much.
just to clarify, like if you want to go on cam, buddy, like go on cam for the podcast.
Oh
No
yeah,
one's gonna complain.
you've been pushing for that, haven't you?
I'm just saying, I've got a nice 150 quid webcam here, ready and waiting to. And the only thing I've used it for is the fashion contest. One day it will
One
get
day,
used. Gotta
yeah.
justify it that way. That was a funny story because I was in the put it this way, 150 quid on that camera did not get me any favors with my partner for that. Right, what's wrong with the £10 one?
The quality, that's what's wrong. Like, unless you want to look like a Minecraft character, but
Through that. But yeah, let's wrap this up. So I really it feels like we're ending it, but we're not. It's just one episode. Like yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Hey, you know what, Bing? Here, I'm gonna do the honors for part two. Okay, for this last ever part two, you get to close the podcast. How's that? Go for it.
is that doing the honors? Because I feel like I'm doing the honors then. Well, I guess I'll be
Go for it.
improvising then. So, people, thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff. And we will see you in the next podcast in next week.
Yep.
There you go. That's how you do it.
All right. Catch you later, guys. See you in the next one.
See ya, guys.